Hello, welcome back to the podcast. In today's episode, I'm going to be sharing the things to stop doing immediately if you are trying to heal your gut or suspect that you have poor gut health. And remember, this doesn't always have to manifest as digestive issues, heartburn, constipation, bloating. It could be that you're struggling with an autoimmune condition, fatigue, brain fog, anxiety, skin issues, because those things are a symptom usually of poor gut health, sometimes a number of different things, but your gut is so integral for other body systems to work. I think there's about 9 things on this list, and we're always told the things to do, the things to take, but we have to remove some of the offenders in order to get good results a lot of the time. If you're just throwing probiotics on top of things and you're actually doing something detrimental every day, then you're kind of making the issue worse, or the things that you're doing aren't going to be as successful. So let's focus on removing some of these things. Some of them are like super easy and common mistakes that I see, something that I've been through personally and now have great gut health. And as a result, the rest of my health is thriving right now. And I want the same for you. So rather than looking on TikTok for your next supplement recommendation and buying probiotics and all of these things, make sure that you are stopping some of the common gut detrimental habits and factors that I'm going to share in today's episode. So starting with the first one, it's taking unnecessary medication. And look, there's a time and a place for medication if you are type 1 diabetic and you're on insulin as something to save your life. Please keep taking that. If you're even on thyroid medication, like some of these things, they're not the medications that I'm talking about. I'm talking about you popping some paracetamol or painkillers because you think that you're going to get backache later, or you think you might get a headache, or your period's due, and you're just taking them out of habit. And I know with some things it is good to get them in the system. And if you really struggle with pain, like please keep working on the root cause of that. And medications can be amazing to help relieve some symptoms in the short term. But the problem that I have is just people taking these things every day and they're not made aware of the detrimental effects of things like the hormonal birth control pill. If you're taking synthetic hormones every day, just because when you were 16 you had acne and you've just stayed on it for convenience, you could be taking something every day that's having a negative impact on the gut for multiple different reasons. It can promote the overgrowth of yeast and reduce your good bacteria and contribute to leaky gut. Plus, it depletes a ton of nutrients like zinc that are important for the gut integrity to be healthy. So it's just being aware of what you're taking. Even 20, 30-year-olds that I work with are on multiple medications and they don't even list them on the medication form, but it just comes out in conversation like, oh yeah, every week I take this painkiller and I take these antacids for my heartburn. They don't even think of them as medication, although they have an IUD or a coil and they don't know that they've got hormones in, or they don't realize that that's important that I know that stuff, but it is. So just take inventory of your current situation. How many medications are you taking? Please work with your practitioner, your doctor, to discontinue some of these things because we can't just stop sometimes, and you want to make sure that that is safe to do so. But even if it takes you a few months to wean off something, say it's heartburn medication or whatever, I know that the relief that you can feel really good, but work on the underlying root at the same time. Why do you have heartburn in the first place that requires you to take omeprazole? Why are you getting so much chronic pain in your body and awful periods? A lot of these things can be resolved completely with holistic, functional, naturopathic medicine, whatever you want to call it. Second one, thing to avoid is eating when you're stressed. I would rather you go without a meal, not fully, but at least delay it. If, let's say, you've just come off a stressful work meeting or a call and you have a lunch break, please just go for a walk first to clear your head, get some fresh air, take some deep breaths, get some of that energy out of the body and calm down your sympathetic nervous system into a more relaxed state before you sit down to eat lunch. You want to eat eventually, but just delaying that by 10 minutes while you do some grounding, take some deep breaths, calm yourself down, change your environment a little bit, is going to be so much more worth it than doing it the opposite way, scoffing down your meal when your blood is actually shunted away from your gut in that state. When you're stressed, blood is moved to your peripheries, your arms, your legs, so you can fight and flight from a potential or real threat. And it's moved away from the gut, and that's why you can feel really heavy and bloated and like it's just a rock sitting there after eating. I really tried to not do this anymore, but when I used to work in retail, we got 30 minutes sometimes max for a lunch break, and I just had to wolf down the food. And then maybe I'd just been with a stressful customer, and then I came down and was just like on to the next thing. And no wonder I was bloated. There were so many other factors at that point, but my eating habit and my eating environment was just not supportive at all. So I would, if I was in that position again, I would take 5-10 minutes, just go outside and maybe have a smaller, more easy to digest meal if I really can't control everything stress-wise. Maybe you have a high pressure job, maybe take soup for lunch or something a little bit smaller and have a bigger breakfast before you go to work and just adapt it that way. Or maybe have an extra little snack in the afternoon just to tide you over. But I can't emphasize enough, if you're struggling with your gut, and a lot of people are, the majority of people are, please do not eat in a stress state. Your body and your nervous system can only be in one state at a time. Either the rest and digest and heal and break down your food properly and absorb the nutrients properly, or the sympathetic fight and flight mode where your body is ready for danger and it's ready for a potential attack, and that is just going to be a breeding ground for fermentation, bacterial imbalances, and you feeling very bloated and not so great. Number 3 is to stop rushing so much, especially first thing in the morning. This is usually when most people have a daily bowel movement after they wake up, or after they've had a glass of water or a herbal tea or the breakfast. As long as you're going at least once a day, but is ideal, but ideally should be in the morning in terms of the Chinese body clock. That's when the organ, the bowel, the intestines are working. And if you are just waking up in the morning and you're out the door within 5 minutes, you're not allowing time for your body to enter this restful state. And no wonder you're probably constipated or just feeling backed up and sluggish. Even if you can wake up 5-10 minutes earlier and just have it be a little bit more relaxed. I'd rather you have 5 to 10 minutes less sleep, but not be rushing around like a headless chicken first thing in the morning, because then it also sets the tone for the rest of the day. So even if you're super chilled and meditate later on, how you start your day in that first 30 to 60 minutes really influences the rest of your day. Your cortisol is actually naturally higher first thing in the morning, so we don't want to push it even more. I used to wake up and automatically have palpitations and anxiety and feelings of stress. And there wasn't really much stress in my external life with relationships and work at that point. But it was because I was just super high cortisol and I had a lot of physical imbalances going on that were contributing to stress. And I was struggling with constipation at that point and just poor gut health in general. So when I really tried to make my morning routine as relaxed and stress-free as possible, and just giving myself extra time, I do have the luxury of being self-employed and I can create my own schedule. The majority of my client calls are in the afternoon. I used to see clients as soon as I woke up multiple times a week and just found that it wasn't working for me. And when I'm not in my best energy and state of health, that will reflect with my work. So me having boundaries, and now I think it's twice a week, I'll have one call in the morning before lunch, and it's usually like 9 or 10 a.m. on Wednesdays and Fridays. But I don't have any earlier than that, because even if I woke up at 7, I need my time to myself. I know if you're a parent, you might not have the luxury of doing so, but do what you can. Maybe your partner can take the kids for a little bit, or you can get some help, or you can set things up the night before just to make it easier for you first thing in the morning. But something that I usually work with clients who have chronic constipation is even just sitting on the toilet for 5 minutes in the morning, even if nothing happens, just getting into that routine. Because if you're not in the habit of doing that, it's just going to continue. So building new neural networks in the brain that's teaching like you would with a toddler, like this is where we go, this is the time of day that I'm setting time aside for us to have a bowel movement. And after a while, and when combined maybe with some deeper work, then you'll be good to go, trust me. Number four is in terms of movement. I want you to stop over exercising, or if you're on the other extreme, if you're not moving enough during the day, you are going to be struggling with gut health. So we need to stop that. We need to find a nice balance of movement. This can completely depend on where you're at in your health journey. If you're really struggling with fatigue and chronic pain and all sorts of complications at the minute, your workout and movement schedule is going to look a little bit different to someone who is feeling really good. But some people are over exercising and don't even realize it, or there's other people who go to Pilates twice a week and do like a 30-minute class who then sit on their bum for the rest of the day, and they wonder why they're struggling with insulin resistance and their weight and sluggish bad digestion. And there is a nice in between. Actually, the more muscle that we have in our body, and the more movement we have, that's promoting circulation of the blood and the lymphatic fluid, which is a way that we detox. And our gut needs movement. It needs peristalsis for it to work properly. And you can still be constipated even if you're going to the bathroom daily, because the stool that you're releasing today could be from 2 to 3 days ago. So that is just a little reminder. And people think that they're not constipated until we really address it, and then they're going like 3 times a day, fully evacuating, and like, oh my God, that was not normal, what I was experiencing before. So I don't have any set prescription for how much exercise you should be doing, but walking is always a go-to. If you can do 8 to 10,000 steps a day, ideally outside for extra benefits of sunlight and fresh air, bonus points for that. If you can do some strength training to build some muscle, that's going to benefit you, but limiting your sessions to maybe an hour or so, and giving yourself at least 1 or 2 proper rest days a week, not overdoing it, because all of that cortisol and inflammation could just be affecting your gut. So you'll probably know if you're someone who's like really active or pushes themselves quite a bit, you're excessively sore, you're tired after working out, you just feel more puffy, and you're doing things like cardio and HIIT training, or you're training for a marathon at the moment, you will probably know if you're erring more towards the over-exercise side of things. But if you are an office worker or you're pretty sedentary, maybe you do the odd class here and there, but your step count is quite low and you just feel like you're maybe active in the morning, but for the rest of the day you're sat down, maybe you need a little bit more exercise. So experiment. When I got my standing desk and treadmill set up in my office, I noticed the biggest difference to my digestion. And I was someone who didn't really have any concerns or complaints, but when I started moving, especially after eating, not only did it improve my blood sugar, but it also improved my digestion. So I was going like 3 times a day, whereas before it was twice. And anything that we can do to support detoxification is a thumbs up from me, and it's only going to benefit your gut health. I just want to check, are you addressing the healing foundations? Not sure what I mean? Well, these are the important factors that I believe that you need to address in order to be in optimal health and overcome your stubborn health issues and symptoms, whether that's chronic digestive issues, acne, hair loss, period problems, weight gain, anxiety, fatigue, I could go on. Because I want as many of you as possible to have this life-changing information, I've bundled together 6 of my juiciest and info-packed masterclasses priced at just £111. Not only are you getting these recordings, which are between 60 and 90 minutes long each, on the following subjects: the power of the subconscious mind, stress, trauma, and the nervous system, supporting your female menstrual cycle, mastering your metabolism, optimizing sleep, gut health and detox. You're also going to receive my healthy groceries shopping list and my favorite non-toxic products guide, which are both usually reserved for my one-to-one clients. Whether you're brand new to the holistic healing world or you've been trying to work on things for a while but feel stuck, I can guarantee there's something within this content that will help you to understand your next steps and what you're missing. Sometimes it's something so foundational that's being overlooked. Get instant access to the Foundations bundle today for just £111 by clicking the link in the episode show notes, and I can't wait to hear about what you've learned. Grab your pen and paper to make notes and get started today. Number 5 is to stop drinking cold, icy drinks or cold meals when you have poor gut health. Definitely in winter, even more of an importance this time of year. If you're in a place like the UK where it's darker and colder, now we want to eat more seasonally. And if you're struggling with your gut, your digestion's already compromised, so we don't want to be giving it lots of like extra work to do with these cold, icy juices and smoothies and big raw salads in the middle of winter. It just doesn't make sense evolutionarily to be doing that. So focus on soups and stews and broths, and you can even make your vegetables easier to digest by mashing them, pureeing them, and just treating your gut like you would a newborn baby's, and just really simple, nutrient-dense meals. I'm a big fan of animal protein. You can even make that more easy to digest by slow cooking it. I love my Instant Pot. I use that all the time this time of year, and it's been like an amazing investment. I got that years ago and it's still going really strong. So highly recommend looking into the Instant Pot. But at minimum, stop drinking icy cold drinks. If you're carrying around a Berkey with ice and you want it as cold as possible, and it's winter time, you're drinking iced coffees, that's a simple swap that you can make. Just try drinking warm or room temperature drinks only, and with your food, try to have as much warm cooked food as possible. If you're having leftovers at work and there's no microwave, or you don't want to microwave your food, then just lift it out of the fridge, maybe 30-60 minutes before, and as long as it's still cooked, that's a bit better than it being raw and cold. So take out your chicken and your veggies and your sweet potato from the fridge so it's not absolutely freezing cold. Leave it on the side for a little bit to come up to room temperature, and at least it's cooked foods. That still makes a big difference. In Chinese medicine, this is a big thing, especially for digestion and fertility. They are like, no, 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 for ice baths, cold plunges, cold drinks, juice cleanses. It's just not a good thing, not a good fit. Number 6 is to stop scrolling on your phone first thing in the morning and sitting under artificial lights all day long. Our body and a lot of our cellular energy, our mitochondria, the batteries and the powerhouses of our cells require light for proper function. Our hormones require light, natural light for proper function, and a variation of light throughout the day. When we're inside and we've just got the light of our screens, computers, iPhones, TV, artificial room lighting, it's just a constant, not changing type of light that's stimulating cortisol, and there's no variation throughout the day. So get outside, get your steps in outside, get some movement in. If the first light that you see first thing in the morning is the light of your iPhone, you're asking for hormone problems, you're asking for digestive problems. I know it doesn't seem it, but getting light first thing in the morning and throughout the day multiple times is an amazing thing for your digestion. Everything just works better when it's being exposed to things that it should be. It's in our DNA to be able to move every day and get adequate light exposure and eat foods that are naturally organic, but the world that we live in isn't set up in the ideal way. We have to make a conscious effort to do so. This time of year, I know it's so easy to stay inside and skip the walk because it's rainy and it's drizzly and it's a bit miserable, but you just need to. I don't know what else to say. Put your coat on, get some wellies on, get out the door. You will always feel better after a walk. Even if you come back in and you're soaking wet, just get everything dried off, get your dressing gown on, get a cup of hot tea, and you'll feel better. Just give it a few minutes. Number 7, I'm not sure if anyone's still doing this. If you're smoking, like, again, you're asking for problems. I doubt that you're listening to this podcast and you're smoking, but you never know. But that has got to go. Anything that's directly harming the gut, that's just known to cause cancer and all sorts of health conditions, then that's just a low-hanging fruit that just needs to be cleared. But even the same with vaping. In some ways, vaping is probably worse than cigarette smoke with all of the chemicals and bubblegum flavors that are in there. It's just awful. But the other one I don't think gets as much attention is alcohol, but I would put them all under the same category. It's a known carcinogen. It is poisoning the body and it is directly causing damage to the gut lining when you're consuming it. And there was, I think it's changing now, but some people saying that a little bit of alcohol is good for you, and it's just not. It's just not true. If you're feeling good and you're not actively working on something and you want an alcoholic beverage a few times a week, I think that's fine. But if you are struggling with leaky gut, if you are struggling with IBS, gut issues, you're trying to heal from a health issue and your symptoms, cutting out alcohol is just one thing that is actually doable and pretty easy and will make a big difference. So it is worth it. This time of year, alcohol levels can increase, and ironically, so does people feeling worse, more bloated. They are getting coughs and colds, their immune system's down. Is there a correlation? Yes. I know sugar and the lack of sunlight and things are also playing into that, but I'm just not a fan of alcohol. I haven't drank alcohol in at least a year. And even before that, it was like once or twice a year I'd have something. I thought I was missing out for a while when I was really struggling with my health. That was the first thing to go because not only was I concerned about the damage to my gut and my liver, but it was also that I would have a major histamine response to it. So that just made it way easier to be able to cut it out my life. And I wasn't really going out drinking. My friends didn't really do that at the time. So it was a bit easier for me. But there are so many non-alcoholic things these days, and a lot of younger people are no longer drinking as much. It's just not the culture anymore, but especially Brits, a lot of people do still drink a lot and they don't realize it because they're comparing themselves to someone else and I don't drink as much as them and I eat healthy the majority of the time, but then they're binge drinking when they do drink and it's just not great. And yeah, something that we do have control over. There are some things that we don't. Like if you're taking a medication for your thyroid, like you can't really change that in the short term. You can definitely, there is hope that you can come off it in future. I'm not saying that, but stress, like some of it's inevitable, but what you're eating and drinking and putting in your body, you do have control over. Last two, number 8, is you need to stop eating artificial sweeteners and preservatives and fillers and gums that are in these processed foods, even quote healthy things like protein bars and protein shakes, these natural like fizzy drinks and chewing gum. They put them in a lot of things, even the healthy gluten-free, sugar-free alternatives. If you struggle with your gut, these can just be a known trigger and could just make a massive difference. I've had people with like chronic IBS, bloating and pain and all sorts, and all we do really is cut out the artificial sweetness. And they're like, oh my God, my whole life has changed because they can just be such a trigger when you have bacterial imbalances. These like sugar alcohols they're called, can just feed that and they can just make it worse. So it might not be enough to get to the root of the problem, but it's a big step forward. And yeah, a lot of people do have issues, even just the quantity. If you're eating a protein bar in the morning and then a shake in the afternoon, and then you've got your gluten-free bread that's full of fillers and about 20 ingredients, it does add up. So it might just be a quantity thing as well. Last but not least, number 9 is you need to stop holding in your emotions and stop ignoring the impact of stress and your energy when it comes to gut health. I've spoken about this in the recent stress episode that I did, but we have these different energy centers in the body, and the energy center that's reflective and represents the digestive system is the solar plexus. And this is involved in things like confidence and personal power and safety and our identity. and our expression in the world. So when we want to share something on social media and hold back, or we want to tell someone what we really think of them or stand up for ourselves and we don't, that is damaging your gut, similar to alcohol and antibiotics can. So we want to feel our emotions, let them pass through us, and not see them as these bad things. If you need to cry, cry. If you need to journal it out, if you need to do some EFT tapping, it doesn't have to be in that exact moment, but at least some point, if you recognize something has been triggered within you, explore that deeper, because your triggers are the portal to your healing and your freedom. If I ever feel anxious or a stressy energy comes up, I'll do some movement. I'll discharge that energy, because if I just sit with it, it's just gonna just be buzzing around my body, causing damage. So I get up, I go for a walk, I do some shaking, I do some EFT tapping, dance it out, move it out of my body, and that is so healing. If you really struggle with your confidence, I think your confidence will go up when you feel healthier and you work on your gut health. But there are some situations where it's not the food or the supplements that makes the difference. It's someone really becoming okay with themselves or working through some trauma from the past, feeling more confident within themselves, going outside of their comfort zone, changing their jobs, ending a relationship that actually helps them with their gut. It's really fascinating, and I wish I knew about this sooner, because I don't think there's one symptom or condition out there that isn't linked to energy and emotion in some way. So I couldn't do this episode without mentioning something like that. But I hope you enjoyed this episode and have at least some action steps now to be working on. Before you start adding things in, let's remove some of the roadblocks to your gut healing, because actually if you remove the triggers, your gut can technically heal itself, but it can be a bit more complicated than that. So if you find that you make these changes and you're like, okay, I feel better, but not 100%, this is your final chance this month, these next couple of weeks, to claim and get on board with my Black Friday bonus, which is a complimentary stool test. If you are sick of just guesswork and throwing spaghetti at the wall to see what sticks, and you want to see on paper, right, this is what's going on with my gut after all these years, all of this self-research that you've been doing, you want to see some actual data, there's always going to be something that comes back. I've never seen a stool test come back normal, by the way, so just a heads up if you're worried. I can guarantee there's going to be at least something to work on in there. But on the 1st of December, this offer is ending, and I only have a few test kits available. I only have 4 test kits available and places for availability for new clients to start. So when you sign up to my one-to-one coaching program, which is the Restoring Energy Package, reprogram, then you get complimentary GI map stool tests. So we'll be able to see exactly what's going on in your gut, whether you do have the classic gut symptoms or you have non-gastrointestinal symptoms like fatigue and acne, period problems, as I was saying at the start. There is not one person that I don't think could benefit from a stool test. And not only do you get that test, but as standard, all year round there is already the HTMA mineral test included. So you're getting 2 functional lab tests, personalized recommendations, 6 months of one-to-one coaching with me, my client community, my complimentary gold vault of information, which is the Mind Body Reset library, which has over 30 hours of videos and masterclasses in there already. There's hypnosis tracks, EFT tracks, just to really support you on that physical and energetic level. And I would love to support you and go deeper into all of this gut healing work. So yeah, if you've done these changes and you're like, okay, I need more, don't feel like you've done everything. I hear it all the time. I've tried everything and nothing works. You've not tried everything, trust me. If you want to chat further, I have some spaces as well over the next couple of weeks before the offer ends for a free 30-minute enrollment call, so you can check that out and book yourself in on my website. Will be linked in the show notes, or if you want to send me a message, an email, inquiries with an E at Viva Natural Health, or over on social media, I'm at Viva Natural Health. send me a message and we'll get you booked in just so we can chat further and see if it would even be a good fit for your situation. If you've got any questions, let me know. And I will see you back here next week for another episode.